All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is Wednesday, January 13th, 2016. And the title of tonight's webinar is There Are Three Trends, Learn How to Trade Them. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading rooms, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to show a chart here in just a moment. And just at the blink of an eye, I want everybody to tell me what trend we're in. Uptrend, downtrend. Okay, even if it's sideways, I still want to know if it's an uptrend or a downtrend. Here we go. Uptrend or downtrend? Very good. You know, this may seem a little bit basic, but you wouldn't believe how many people will even come to our room and ask, are you shorting there or are you going long? Well, we'll tell when we're going to go short, and we do that based on like Band-Aids, to give an example, at opens and also news events. But as a rule, you want to stay with the overall trend. It's extremely important to buy at the bottom, sell at the tops, okay? If you're going to trade, you know, for instance, this is pretty choppy, but it's still an uptrend, isn't it? It's absolutely an uptrend, okay? Now, just looking at this chart here, I can pretty much see that they've tested this area across here. So I'm going to draw a line like so. Notice they tested that 1, 2, 3 times. Okay. Now, looking at this low here, higher low, higher high, never took out the previous swing though, and a little bit higher low by a tick. This is pretty much where my support is, isn't it? Okay. Now, I like to also draw trend lines on my charts. Y'all see it every day in the room if you're in the room. Okay. See the little swings right there? Okay. Now, what you'd be doing is you would obviously be looking for a pullback to take a long trade, right? And that's what I'm going to teach tonight. You notice in that room how accurate we can get on these trades. It's because of the tools that we built over the years that will tell us what the trend is really doing. Okay, and we stay on the right side of the trend most of the time. Okay, if it's really choppy like a totally sideways like this is right here, sure, you can sell the top and buy the bottom. Okay, but you're much better staying with the trend, because just to give you an example, what if this was to bounce somewhere in here and take this out? Well, if you short this up here, then obviously you'd be on the wrong side of the trade. Okay, now we add some other indicators to make sure that you know what is really going on in this chart. I'm going to put that one on here. Okay, now this pretty much reinforces that our trend is up, doesn't it? Okay, and then we have another little indicator that I like really well. That's the background, and I use the Pro background, the Viper Pro background, MTF, and you always want to make sure that you pull it on a 4 range, even if you're using different size charts, because that's what we call them off of. All right. Now you'll notice that looks pretty much like it's an uptrend, doesn't it? But see, you figured that out just by looking at the charts to begin with, and that's really good. Okay, because it's important to be able to see these swings. You know, if for instance, if you draw, well, let's say we draw our lightning. Okay, this is lightning 3 right here. You've got a high, a low, a higher high, higher low. See how that comes right back on top of that one right there? See it right there? They usually do that within a tick or so. Okay, and then if they do it again, see how it came right here and bounced again? Those are great trades. You could literally, if you think about this, you know, 10 tick trades, you get a thrust up, you pull right back into support, you take it. You just take your coin, you know, whenever it just even jogs back on lightning 1, which is your really, basically your minor lightning, okay? And then it comes back again on top, you get it again. I mean, those trades, just to give an example, you could literally have one trade that works out real well, another trade that works out real well right there, okay? And if they don't take out these highs, take your coin quickly, because that's when we draw on these charts, okay? Now, any questions on this so far? Because the 3 trends is really important in your trading. I don't know how I can stress it enough, because, I've even seen times in the room where somebody's drawing a box, to give an example, or talking about a box, and, you just go down like to Phantom and bounce. And was that really a short trade at mid-band, or was that possibly a long trade, at the previous lower support level? Well, sure, you can take them both ways, but you got to be ready to take the trade in the trend direction, because that's what these charts do all the time, okay? Now, what I call the medium trend is the one where you get a difference in your color bars. Let me go ahead and put the color bars on the screen for you real quick. Let's see, we'll go ahead and put the data series. I've got them transparent right here. Let's just go ahead and put all the indicators on real quick. We'll go ahead and put on Viper Ultimate Predictor CL. Bear with it just a second, it's loading. Okay, and here we go. Okay, now you get up in the morning and you see something like this. What's your inclination to do on this chart right here? You're thinking, okay, well, this is pretty sideways. Are you going to take these little breaks at mid-band and get like 3 or 5 ticks or something like that? Or are you going to wait for it to come down to support and exactly buy the bottoms and sell the tops? Okay, because this is still an uptrend over here. You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low, you got a higher high, you got a higher low here. Didn't get a higher high here, but this swing is established on what we call identified. Now, does anybody not know what I mean by identified swing? Because I'll go through that if we need to. I'm hoping everybody realizes what that is. But an identified swing on a longer term swing like this means that this upper swing here was taken out, okay? And usually on these medium trends, I like for them to be taken out by more than this first one here. See how that popped up here and just pulled right back and then took off? Okay, don't count it when it's just like this, because when they pull back like this, if they start breaking down, they'll come all the way down to here. Okay, but when you get a top taken out like this by, say 15, 20 ticks, then you can pretty much count that as your swing, and that's your identified swing. Okay, now if they take this out, where would our identified swing be? Well, it'd be under here. And of course, if they jog around up here and then make another one like at support, we may have it even up in here. And we'll see if that happens. But what would you do with this particular chart to trade it? Because there is a trade on this chart, and we pretty much diagnosed it with the trend line. Okay, it's definitely heading up, at least at this moment it is anyway. Doesn't mean it'll continue heading up. Okay, but for this chart to head down, I would have to actually get lower than this. Okay, until they actually came down, started oscillating around or whatever, and gave me another place to do it. But right now, I'm looking at this chart, this is what it would take to take out my identified swing. So this is definitely still an uptrend, right? So the best way to trade it is get your strategy going. We're in replay. I like to do replays because you can really do some wondrous deals on replay. By the way, on this new script that I've got, my programmer forgot that I had changed my colors a little bit on here. So this is more his choosing. We may leave it at this and we may change it, but I don't have it set right now to actually do the gray background like you guys and gals have on sim. So just don't pay any attention to this. This is actually the simulated type trading, which is replay or sim 101. Okay. All right. So if you were getting ready to trade this trade, you can look at this just to give you an example. All right, here's a resistance area right here. See the thrust, retrace, thrust. So there's a little area right there that you could pretty much say, okay, you know, if this really decides to really break this pretty good, maybe I want to go ahead and take a little breakout trade. But I really want this trade down here because that trend line's pretty well established, and you'll see them kiss these trend lines a lot. I draw them in the room all the time for everyone. Okay, so what you could do, you could simply put like a ray down here. You could put the region by simply clicking insert, bring this up here to resistance, this down here to support where that trend line is. Okay, you'd probably want to do a touch +2 or possibly even 3 because you really want this about when it bounces off that trend line. Okay, choose your amount of contracts if you want, say like 3 to give an example, choose your targets and all that, and then just simply hit it and be ready to take it. Now, if this was to break up this way, you might want to go ahead and, just in case you don't want like a breakout trade, look at your previous swing over here even. See the thrust, retrace, thrust. You could even put this above here. That way you don't accidentally get in this unless it just really decides to go up. You want the lower part of it. Everybody see that? Okay, so let's see if we can get a trade. I'll go ahead and turn on the object trader, and we will activate the region. We'll do like a touch +2, and we'll see if we can get us a little trade. Now, by the way, that's not drawing a big box. You notice that I'm not actually engulfing the candles. I'm actually looking at where this should bounce, and where if I'm wrong and it bounces earlier, I could get a little break trade above mid-band, because that's where this lightning is right here. See it right through there? Little thrust, retrace, thrust, just right across there. That's kind of an identified swing. See the high, the low, lower high, kind of zigzag down, but that's pretty much an identified swing on that, the first thrust. Okay, let's go ahead and take this off. See if we can get this trade. Let's see, don't you want long inside button? Absolutely you would, as a matter of fact. Thank you on that. You absolutely would want that. I'm glad you caught that. Well, anyway, we're in the trade, right? So that's fine. We're in the trade. We may regret this one because it looks to me like it's gonna, here's resistance right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put my stop under the swing, okay? And actually I would want my stop right under here even, simply because I don't want it to take out my previous swing right here. Now keep in mind that's about 20 ticks on oil, but we got the breakout trade. You see what I mean? Okay, so let's see if we can get this line again. If it'll come down at all. It may not, it may just keep heading up, which is fine with me. Okay, we're losing on the trade. Do you get really concerned when it does that? Well, what you could actually do, you could get out of this trade and back in it if you want, but keep in mind then you got to make up the loss. Okay, because we got in on this little breakout trade instead, and I didn't get my long inside set, which it wouldn't have triggered anyway down here at 06, so we're okay. Now, if you want to protect this trade, you could go ahead and put it right underneath this little swing just in case, because you'd be better off getting in down here if it comes down here. See how that's trying to take out that swing right there? We're feeling a little bit of heat on this one. You want to take it off and put it back on if it comes down, or you want to leave it on? That's a decision you have to make when you're trading, okay, because we're down like 240 bucks. What do you think? We didn't get our bounce off of our trend like we wanted, did we? We got faked in. That's going to happen to you. That's definitely going to happen to you. But the best way to do is not by breakout trades, but by retracement trades that bounce off of support. Now, since we got 3, I'm not going to add any, but this is where I want the trade right down here at the bottom of this box. We may still be okay though. We'll see. We're only feeling 240 bucks of heat, not real bad. Okay, now what you've got to also do is you got to figure where are your swings that you want to hit your targets at. Well, we got 5 ticks above here because we're way under right now. We're still down about 200. Oh, there's 300. There's 270. There's 240. Okay. I would put my target, well, right across here is a swing like that. But see, that's only 3 ticks. So you don't want to go just like 3 ticks. So bring it up to the next swing level, which is right here, trading, looking to the left to trade the right. And that's still that same 5 ticks. Okay, we're okay, it looks like. Okay, get one of your targets out of the way. Now, what did I do there? Oh, I know what I did there. I pulled that into a different panel. Let's see if we can get it back. There we go. All right, so let's put one target right here at this swing. See it right there? Just got it. Now, we've only got one left, so we'll have to actually do the runner on it, right? Okay. Now, where do you think you could add to this again, though? Look to the left to trade the right and see if it doesn't come right on top of that little line right there. If it doesn't, we won't add. It's no big deal if we don't. Yeah, it's not going to. It's making a little zigzag to the top. That's fine. Go ahead and pull your stop underneath this swing only when it's established as a lightning swing. Right now, it's not. As soon as it pops up to here, it will be, if it does. Now, I like to use exit on close, and you're going to get that again, by the way. I'll turn on exit on close because we've tested this version of it, and it works quite well. Okay? Like I teach to trade all the time, where's your next lightning swing? Isn't it right here? But it's not quite identified yet. If it'd kind of pop up a little bit more, I'd put my stop just right here. Can everybody see that? See that little swing? If you can't see it, draw it with lightning. It's really important to see it. I'll draw it from down here. Anywhere down in here is fine. See a little swing that's identified? So couldn't you bring your stop just under there? Now, couldn't you bring it under here? See how you can do this with this 3-trend trading? It says your stop is at 10 ticks. You were talking about probably, it doesn't show when it's, because we had that literally all the way down to 20 because we got the little breakout trade. And if you get that breakout trade like that, you have to use lightning. And the time it took it was right in through here. You have to put your stop under here. Otherwise, they're just going to ding you and ding you. If you see it pop up and pull back immediately and you want to just get out of it instead, do that instead. Because we got filled right here and then it came back. And see how it just tested that swing right there? Right across there. That's why you got to lag it back a couple of ticks or so. Let's go ahead and bring our stop up. Like so. Wouldn't that be where you'd want your stop? That's where I'd want mine. Okay, we don't know how high this is going to go, so looks like a good ellipse right here though, doesn't it? Let's just see if we can get this out of the way. Stops right here. As soon as it takes out this top here. This is this 3-trend trading. This is your micro trend right now. Look at it testing that line. See why this exit on close is so important? Well, that one took it out. So you want to know what I'd be doing right here? I'd be going right back in that little dude because it came right on top of that swing right there. Everybody see why on that? Let's see if we can get it. Bar close, long. See if we can get us a little trade. Now on this right here, I would tighten it up pretty good, like that right there, just in case. Because what we're trying to do is get this little bounce off of support. And let's see, we got 3 contracts. So we got a swing here, we got a swing here, and we got a swing up there. Okay. Now be careful if you don't make those. See how that actually came here and it didn't quite get it? You can always protect your coin just under that swing. Now let's see if we can get another trade. We need an ellipse. I'm going to see if we can get an ellipse. We haven't been taken out of this one yet, but it sure looks like it wants to. Okay, we're out. Now you notice we don't have an ellipse yet. Okay, we got one here, but there's not one here yet. So we're looking for a pullback into where? Where do you think on that? Somebody says what? Well, matter of fact, there's your ellipse right there, isn't it? I'm going to put a pretty tight stop on it though because I don't trust it. That's also a line 2 trade. That's a really popular trade. And now you're starting to break down a little bit, but your resistance is right up here, isn't it? Okay, so let's see if we can get this trade. We got a decent one. One of them's going to be right here at resistance, right? Oh, and there's a little high energy time right there that happened today. See if we can get us another little trade here. I'm going to go ahead and tighten my stop right now, just under there. Well, we got all of our targets. Okay. Now this is at the open of the market right here. I'm going to slow this down a little bit because it's going like 15, 20 times. All right, let's get rid of lightning and see if we can get another trade. Notice we did not get our Band-Aid at 8 o'clock. We got one at 7:52. Let me look here. We want that one at 7:59, and I didn't see it show up. 7:59 should have showed up right there, and 7. That must be it right there. Yeah, that is 7:59 right there. Good deal. Remember that trade we called in the room this morning? We got that right there. Everybody remember that? And you remember what else we did? Right underneath here, we sold it. See the swing right there? Tighten your stop just in case, lag it back just a little bit, just in case this is still going up. But I called that trade this morning in the room, and your target would be down here at Phantom. Let's see if we can get a trend line drawn too. Right between here and here. Like so, trend line. Remember, we drew this in the room this morning. Right there. That's where our target is. Everybody remember that? See, you're still looking for longs on this chart, but keep in mind at the open of the market, okay, at the open of the market, what are they doing? They're really just kind of pinging around, and we still got to trade these things the way we see them, okay? And when this rolled down and took out this swing right across here, which was an identified swing, then that was not a bad area to short. Everybody see why on that? Well, Peter, on your question though, keep in mind, this is more the open of the market now. Okay, you're not looking as much at background, but also see this transition background. This is a little bit of a green light to say I can trade either way that I want to. Okay, because what are we doing now? We've got a low here. And let's talk about one thing real quick, the 3 trends. When they take out micro, they're going to check medium. Okay, that's just a rule you can take to the bank. All right, when they take out the medium, they're going to change even long-term trends. Where's our medium trend on this chart here? You've got a high here, a low here, much higher high here. Higher low, not higher high, okay? So you're really looking at this being your overall trend, aren't you? So, and I mentioned this in the room this morning. I remember this live. We were talking as we were trading. This is still an upward trend line until it takes that trend line out. Now, to me, looking at this chart, I see that being the line in the sand that this would be really heading down. Now, keep in mind, though, that we just traded our secondary trend instead here, okay? And we just simply took out our lightning. Look at your lightning. See the lightning right there? High, low, higher, high. Pardon me, high, low, lower high, lower low. So isn't that a lightning swing? That's all we did is we took that when it broke down. Okay, not a bad way to trade actually, because it took out the lightning swing. This is on your micro chart, okay, your micro trend. Okay, but notice it took it out. Now it's testing it right now as we speak, right? It's testing it as we speak, and it just kind of hit resistance. Remember right here, I even mentioned in the room, well, it's too late now, but you could clearly add right there. See it? It just came perfectly to a resistance area and rolled over. Okay, but we didn't do that this morning because we still had a couple of contracts on, remember? Okay, now what could you do also though, if this comes down and hits our trend line and bounces, what tool do you have in Object Trader that you could use? Let's get this out of the way so I can show you how you could trade this if you want to. I'm going to do a array, insert, and then about like that. I'm going to do a long touch +2 on my ray, and I'll activate it. All right, so anywhere down in here, if it hits phantom, okay, and if it doesn't actually bounce here, it might bounce off this bottom one instead, because I've got actually a long outside, which would be touching this one, and I've got a long inside down here. Okay, so I'm just using this ray that we drew just a minute ago to see if we can get a trade. We're short now, okay, but we're drawing a ray on our chart, which we're expecting it to hit its head. Now, you could also do this another way. Let me show you how to do this. You could leave this chart doing what you want it to do and set up another chart instead. Bear with me a second. I just lost that chart. I think I got one of them marked with stay on top. There you go. All right, let me bring it back up here for you. Okay, you could also do this right here where you just simply stay short and use your lightning. And then on this chart over here, you could be ready to take the ray instead. But you can actually flip your trade. For instance, this target's way down here. I can actually flip this trade by turning this on, reverse enabled. So if it gets down here, it'll flip this trade from a long to a short to a long instead. Okay, and that trade was called in the room this morning. I don't remember exactly how close it got to it, but those trend lines are pretty sharp. I'm going to show you another trend line a little bit later. You know, you remember the one I drew in the room on Russell, and we thought, nah, there's no way they'll get there. They got there today. I'll show it to you in a little bit. But they literally took that market to task. They took it down. All right, where would our swing? Well, our swing's not really identified right here yet because they haven't taken out this swing enough. If this would go ahead and roll over, at least get a down bar and take out this line here, for instance, I would go ahead and bring my stop down. Okay, let me just turn this up a little bit. This is a little bit slow. Okay, see, that pretty much did what you want it to do there. See where you can bring your stop now? Just right above that swing with exit on close. Okay, we're short 1. All right, we just got long 3. Okay, now notice that came down a little bit lower. That's okay because I'm still expecting it to hold this swing here if we're going to head back up. If we're not going to head back up, then obviously you want to put your stop down there anyway, right? Because that's your swing. Let me show you there. Get rid of all this stuff on the chart so you can see it better. Everybody see that swing there? I mentioned in the room this morning, this is your medium swing, all right? As long as they keep that swing intact, okay, and I'd probably pull that back just a couple of ticks simply because it's got to hold, okay? Now let's see what we get. And remember, we had a trend line. I drew it. Where's our targets? Well, you got one right here. You got another one up here at mid-band. And anybody in the room this morning remember what I said about this short background right here? Anybody remember? What did I say on it? I said I don't trust that because it's almost a straight line, remember? So the trend is still up. So what are we doing? We're buying support and selling resistance. Doesn't mean we can't sell these little support areas that break, because we showed it right here. You can sell those, okay? You can sell it here, okay? When it breaks these little areas like that, sell it and take a few ticks. But remember right here, this is your low, and look at this right here. That's a higher low so far. Does that line look lower than that line? No. Now, it could take it out, obviously. And if it did, we would be changing trends. But right now, this is an uptrend chart. Even though our software said, no, it changed to a downtrend. You remember my rule of thumb on that? Remember your little hook here and then up? Draw your line across there. And notice how that short one didn't even go below it. Okay. And I diagnosed it live in the room this morning because we had higher lows. Okay. Remember, when they break what we call micro trend, they're going to go down and check these medium swings. If you're continuing to head up, you're going to get higher lows. Okay. And if you'll draw on these charts with these trend lines, they're pretty darn good. You know, will they hit them exactly? No. But I can guarantee you this, if you go by the rule of thumb that we teach, this particular little swing right here is definitely a higher low than that. Okay. So why would you be wanting to trade any other way than when it comes down to support to go ahead and buy the silly thing? Now, could I have been ready to short it too? Yeah. Yeah, because you're breaking swings like right across here, to give an example. Could you take a quick short? Well, we did. We took it up here. Remember when it broke? All right. I like to draw trend lines on my charts, and I'll show you something else you can do even with your targets. Draw your trend line. And let's see, if they take this out, that's actually higher than this swing. So here's your next swing right here. See it? And they just tested that trend line. Could you take, if you had multiples, could you take one off at that swing? You absolutely could, couldn't you? Isn't that amazing how they'll hit these trend lines? Now, if I only had one left, I'd probably go ahead and add, because we are getting a micro up. Even if this swing gets established, that's a higher low, isn't it? So could I be ready to add one? Well, with Sniper, I could. See if I can get it quick enough, that is. And actually, I think I'd add it right there, not there. But we'll take that one. Instead, we just got 3 more. Now, on this one, you definitely want to tighten your stop. I have 5 contracts on, so I'm not going to let them take a whole bunch of this back. Okay. Now, let me ask you a quick question. If you missed this trade, just the way I've been teaching for the last 34 minutes, where do you think this is going to head and pull back to? Let's get rid of a couple of targets just for the fun of it. Okay. All right, let's get rid of some lines on the chart, because I want y'all to call out the next trade on this chart. Because I'll call them in the room. You'll see them. Where do you think the next trade is on this chart? Well, it's heading right down to it. Looking to the left to trade the right, I see a swing right across here. I see mid-band right there. If I can draw it quick enough. All right. So could you be ready to take this trade if it comes down to support and bounces? Or if you miss that one, where's the next trade? Because I can tell you where the next trade is too. This is a trade right here. Let's just pretend we're not in a trade. I'm going to go ahead and take this trade if this bar closes to the upside, just simply because it's coming right down to support. All right. Your stop could be literally right here because this is your identified swing. Okay. The reason we're still looking at longs is because we got higher lows down here. All right. Everybody see that? Now, let me ask you another question though. I'm going to take these out of the way. If you miss this trade even, where is your next trade on this chart? Because it's absolutely clear as it can be if you just simply look at your chart. Watch and see if you can't nail this next trade. Just the way I'm teaching right here. See if you can nail it. Give it a few minutes. It may take a few minutes to get there, but it'll do it. Always look to the left to trade the right. All right, we're breaking this little resistance level right here, right now. All right, where do you think more than likely, if this breaks here, that it's going to come back and test? Now it's got to break here first. Haven't done it yet. They're still oscillating around mid-band, close to it. But I'm talking about the next trade on the chart. Let's just take these off. We'll go for the next trade on the chart. And I want y'all to call it out for me when you see it. And I'm going to put it on about 4 times speed so everybody can see it when it sets up. Maybe a little bit fast. Let's turn it down just a little bit. All right, haven't taken out the high yet. We'll go like 3 times. Hopefully that's good enough. Looking to the left to trade the right. Where do you think the next trade is on this chart? It's got to take out this swing. Okay. And what does it do? It comes back and kisses support, right? Now they haven't taken out the swing yet, so this isn't my trade just yet. I'm talking about watching for the retracement trade. Now we took this one a minute ago and we would still be in it, obviously. But what I'm talking about now is watch for the thrust and the retrace because it'll do it. That's why we use these 4-range bars and these Viper tools so that you can see these trades. Keep an eye on it. It'll do it. So far, it's just slopping around, but that's what they do in real time. So let's just see if everybody can call this next trade, because this is exactly where we would draw on the chart in the room. Okay. Let's see if we can get it. Got to break that top first and then a pullback. All right, it's breaking. Where do you think the next trade is? Looking to the left, trade the right. I picked this one a minute ago. It picked it again for us. So where's your next trade on this chart? Right there. Identified swing. Anywhere between those 2 lines or a bounce off that line right there is a trade. Okay? And see if you just can't get that trade when it does its thing. It'll pull. See there? See there? What's it doing right there? It's pulling back into your support area. Okay? Notice that it didn't come quite to it, but I've got it going too fast and talking too. Okay? But that's where you wanted to get it, was when it bounced right there. Okay? That's where you wanted it. Now, what if you missed this and you say, well, you know what? I just missed that trade, Gary. And you know, we had this down pretty pat to where it should be. So where's another one on this chart? Well, you shouldn't go any lower than this right here. All right. If you break even above here, now this is more of a breakout trade, but keeping in consideration that we don't want to break this little swing. Let's see if we can get another trade. There we go. All right, now our stop's going to be under this swing. I didn't get it where I wanted it because I was talking, but as you can see, when you draw on your charts, they come literally pretty close. Remember, we had the line right there, and it came within 2 ticks. Okay? Doesn't mean you can't take this trade, though. And look to the left to trade the right. You just hit 56, right? Look to the left to trade the right some more. Need to look way over here. Spread out your chart if you have to. And let's see here. 55 was that major swing there, wasn't it? So I would be looking personally right there and right there. See if we can get them. And where's your stop go? Well, obviously your stop would go underneath these swings, just like we teach. Well, we missed that one target because we didn't quite fade it enough. That's okay. Hopefully we'll get it. Does anybody have any questions so far about what you can see on these charts? You know, even if those backgrounds change, look to your 3 trends, okay? Because if you're going against the 3 trends, you're pretty much scalping. You know, notice how we got this breaking underneath here a few minutes ago, and we got a nice little move right down to our trend line, but then it bounced right off the trend line because it was a higher low. And I had that line drawn in the room this morning saying that that was a higher low. Don't pay attention to this right here because the software saw that it took it out enough to change this because it's quite reactive to everything going on. But you've got to still diagnose your charts. Can you show how you selected 3177, please? It was over on that other chart, over to the left, I mean. Look to the left to trade the right. Let me get even, let's go with a little bit. I'll get one more chart up here. I'll do a Renko chart. That way we won't have quite so many bars on it. I usually like a 461. Seems to work pretty well. And the only reason you want to use a little bit larger chart is obviously so you can see more swings, right? So that's where we're at right now. So look to the left to trade the right. 3165. There's 3170 also. See how perfect that little swing is right there? And then here's your swing at 52. You're already above it. So that's your next swing level right there would be 70. Bring your stop up, right? Bring your stop up. And since that swing is at 70, let's go ahead and bring it down and fade it just a little bit. We may have already missed it. We'll go down to about 68. See if we can grab that one. And if not, we'll get taken out. Looks like it's going to take us. And it bounced a little bit. That's okay. Moving a little bit too fast because I think I would have jumped right back in it because that right there is the swing that it should bounce off of. Matter of fact, you want it again? Right there off that line? There we are. Target. If it takes us out, it takes us out. It looks like it might. It's actually trying to come a little bit lower. They're testing a little bit lower. Now I'd be, when it does this right here, I'd be bringing some targets. Swing, swing, and stop right there below the line. And if we get taken out, we get taken out. I'm going to show you how I called another trade in the room this morning because I pretty much remember what happened on oil close to 9 o'clock. Y'all remember it? We were short. I'll show you when it happens. Haven't seen it yet. They went into sleeper mode. What happened? Now looking to the left to trade the right, if you don't want, this is a 12 tick stop, you can always, just in case this decides to come back against you, you can always take off like a couple of contracts just in case they decide. That way you don't lose a lot of your momentum, because 3 contracts will take your money quicker. And we're still doing a little lightning dance down. So we'll get out of one of those, if that, or 2 of those if that bar closes down. And then we'll ride our runner. And if it stops us out, it stops us out. Now it looks like that's starting to change trends to me. See what you're seeing here so far? We teach this. You got a high, you got a low, you got a lower high, you got a lower low, you got a lower high, you got a lower low. Now if they don't bounce off this mid band right here, they should technically bounce off of here. So if you did want to move your stop right down there with only the 1 contract still left, you certainly could, because that's where the next swing is. And this is your identified swing right here, like so. Okay, and it should not take that out. If it's going to bounce, it needs to bounce right about where it's at. That's a swing right there. Now, when I run into something like this and I'm down like this, but we've only got 1, so we're okay. But I would probably pull my target into right through there. See that right there where that resistance is? And probably take a few ticks loss. Trying to get up to there to that swing. See if we can take it. Now, does everybody see where more than likely, if this breaks down, where's your medium swing on this chart? Does everybody see the medium swing on the chart? You can clearly see it. Got a low here, higher low, higher high. Okay. Where's your medium swing on this chart right now? Well, right now it's right here. See it? High, low, higher high. These don't count because they're doing retracing, but that is your identified swing. So what do you think would probably happen if they were to take this out? They'll change trends. Are we going to get this trade or not? We'll put target even right here. Still lose us a few ticks, but this looks to me like it's still going to break. There we go, we got it. All right, now where is our medium trend on this chart right this very moment that you could actually look to short if you wanted to? Where you at, Bar? I don't even see you. There it is, okay. Trying to get right down to here if we can get a bar close. All right, we're in. Remember that trade we talked about in the room this morning? Now, if you missed that trade, where do you think that more than likely the same thing I've been teaching for now 49 minutes, where do you think your next trade is on this chart? Watch and see if you can't peg it. Because you got to get a thrust first and a little retrace, right? That broke down a little bit. We got 2 contracts in. This is our identified swing right here. Leg it back a couple of ticks or so just in case, because that should hold. See there? May not still hold. it takes us out, we'll go back in one more time. That's where this exit on close is a wonderful tool. See there? It held. Now, it hadn't held totally yet until it decides to go down a little bit more. Now it looks like it held. That exit on close is worth its weight in gold. I love it. Now, I'd probably put my stop just above the swing now because they've identified a wick now. Okay? Because we are breaking down, aren't we? And here's our medium swing right here. Notice how they just bounced off of it down here. If they go ahead and break this medium swing, what do you think would be a good idea of where to short this market? We teach this every single day in the room, so I'm going to show you. Well, before I show you, let's see if anybody can guess it first. Where do you think it is? Let's get these out of the way. Where do you think it is? Not necessarily the mid swing. Remember, Peter, the one thing that I like about stair stepping down or stair stepping up is what we call micro swings. The micro swings are really important. Okay? Watch them and see if you can't nail this next trade. Because what do we talk about all the time? This is support right here, right? And it's really support right here also, obviously. So if this breaks, where do you think it would retrace to? Well, this is what I see it doing, and this is from training my eyes to see charts for the last umpteen years. Don't you see that? Right back into resistance. Now, it hadn't broken yet. We're already in it short, so we're good to go anyway. But where could you actually add on this trade? A thrust retrace, right? Now, keep in mind, we're going against the trend right now, but are we really going against the trend by the way I've taught? No, you're taking out the medium swings. Okay? This is one of those good old rule of thumb that you can look at too. See that high, that low, that lower high? That's definitely a lower low. So that's what we call a 1, 2, 3. Now all you got to do is wait for a thrust and a pullback for a pretty safe trade. Watch and see if you don't get it. Ron, on your question, Lightning 1 is just strictly, obviously, those little bitty tiny moves. And Lightning 2 is going to be a little bit stronger. Not that much stronger, though. Let me draw them both. I'll draw Lightning 2. See, it's not even drawn on this one. I'll draw it from here. See, that's Lightning 2, and here's Lightning 1. See, Lightning 1, you can still tell by looking at Lightning 1 what Lightning 2 is, too. You've got a low here, a high here, okay? They took out this low here with even a close of a bar. So where's your identified swing on this chart right now? Well, it's right here. So you could easily pull your exit on close right there. Now watch and see if this doesn't do what I said it'll do. It looks like it's going to. Isn't that doing what we want it to do? Where would you be ready to take this trade again? That went to break even. I don't want it at break even. Right here. Wouldn't you? And if you train your eye to see it, you can hit market order if you want to. Let's just take the trade off. Let's just hit it like it's a fresh trade. It broke down right here. We like retracement trades, thrust retrace. This is where I draw in that room all the time. Now this is getting a little bit close to crude oil inventory, but we're going to take it anyway. I drew this in the room this morning, right up here. Right at that ellipse now, look at that ellipse. And we just missed it, it hit 36. There it is again, I'm going to take it. See how it just hit just barely above that? Put your stop just above the swing. Notice how it came within a tick of that, the actual swing. Oh, look, remember that? Now, we didn't have a trade in. To be fair about this, we were not trading oil inventory at that time. But if you were, you got one heck of a trade. Okay. That was a trade that I actually called this morning, but I said I'm not going to personally do it because of why? Because that was before oil inventory, only like 5 minutes. Okay. Everybody remember that? And then, of course, what do you do after that? Well, you go ahead and trade the Band-Aids that show up on the chart. And you don't have to take a long, because can you see pretty much where the next trade is? Viper Tools will show you where it's at. Let's see if we can get it. Let's get rid of all the lightning and everything, because that was a shotgun and a half, wasn't it? And I'll get rid of all the lines. And I'll get rid of lightning 3. All right, looking to the left to trade the right. Where do you think? Well, we've got a 32 Band-Aid and a 31 Band-Aid. Remember this morning? So what you want to do is you want to draw on your chart. Draw on your chart. Okay? That's your ellipse right there. That's a really important tool because it's telling you where a good retracement could end up being. And it's pretty important to watch that. Okay? See if we can get it. Remember, that was also a fresh low for the morning too. Now, remember, we even mentioned that you could take this long out of this 31 Band-Aid. Pardon me, this is the 32 Band-Aid right here. Okay? But we also mentioned protect your coin after a scalp because the background is as red as it can be. Be very careful trading against the trend unless you're scalping. I'm watching for my ellipse. And if it comes up any higher, it won't go any higher than this right here. That's a pretty well established area of resistance. Let's see if we can get it. By the way, if you want to do something very quickly, if you see this happening like this and you want to try really, really fast, tighten your stop just in case it decides to blow through. Okay, you're trying to get up to here. That's inside that box. That's where I kind of like to do it, is about the middle of it. I didn't get the middle of it that time. See, and then what are you doing right here? Well, watch the bar and see if you don't get a rollover, because that's where our software is saying that we should hit our head. And I'm saying by even looking at the charts, we should hit our heads right here, and it rolled over right there at the ellipse. Your target would be right down here. Okay. Now, let me ask a quick question. You missed that trade. Where's the next trade? It's obvious. Okay. You can look at charts till you're blue in the face, but until you start seeing the lightning swings and see where that next trade is, it makes it more difficult to trade. But I can tell you this, that if this breaks 60, okay, if this breaks 60 right through here, it is going to retrace. Don't you think? Exactly. Somebody's saying, yeah, you're looking for, first of all, you got to get a break, right? You got to get the little break first, and then you got to wait for the retracement. Okay. Let's see where the next ellipse is. See if we can get us another trade. We're still in, well, we're in a total of 4, so that's pretty risky, right? We'd naturally want to stop just above there, just in case. There's our first target. All right, looking to the left to trade the right. Micro swings. It just broke down right there. Okay? It just broke down right there at 63. Let's see what we can get here. 59. See if we can get any kind of a pullback. All right, that's our micro swing. This is what we call our secondary swing. So wouldn't we have to get a lower high than that one right there? Watch and see if our software doesn't actually give it to you though. See if it doesn't actually print an ellipse of where to get in this next trade. We're riding 2 down right now, but I want to show you how you can make some more money if you trade this system like this. Let's watch for our ellipse, and I'm almost through. When the ellipse prints, right now you've got an ellipse here and here, but you don't have one here yet because the software has not calculated it yet. Okay, watch and see if we can't get something there. Because it knows quite a bit. It's pretty amazing of how it knows where you can get in these trades. Because the next trade may be now where is it? We didn't get up there where we wanted, so where do you think it is next time? Look at that ellipse right there. Could that be an add area? Well, it's too late now, but look at that ellipse right there. I have it moving too fast to add, but that's okay. See how it hit that ellipse perfectly right there? Came right to mid-band. These ellipses are pretty important. They will get you some pretty good trades. Okay? If you miss it, just wait for the next one. They'll happen. Didn't this just happen just now? Look at this. See that right there? Right at mid-band. We called that trade in the room this morning. See how fast that'll add to your bottom line? And I highly recommend taking your charts and turning them up with replay even higher than like your 100, 200 times even. Now we didn't move our stop. Obviously our stop would have been down here, but I was yakking. We wouldn't normally give away a $1,000 bill. Everybody knows we would put it with lightning, right? So obviously this is probably going to stop us out. Now this looks to me like it's taking out the what we call the medium trend, isn't it? So what would we as a trader do? Well, let's see if we can get one. That hit what, 73? It's around 957. And we're stopped out. Notice that we gave up a lot of that because obviously we didn't take our trade off the table right through here. And that's definitely what we would have done. Okay, now where's your next trade on this chart, since obviously it is definitely heading up now? Where do you think the next trade is on the chart? Right about mid-band, isn't it? Let's see if we can get another one. Well, actually we're 803 right now. It's up to y'all if you want to. Entirely up to y'all. But this is a really, really good way to trade if you'll just simply look to your left to trade the right and trade with the 3 trends. Because the 3 trends are amazing, the difference. Notice how when this took out this medium swing here, wasn't that obviously a trend change on that chart? I would hear a nice round of applause that absolutely it was, wasn't it? Of course it is. Okay, where's another trade on this chart? I see one setting up right as we speak, and we just missed it. See it right there at the ellipse? That's probably a little bit late, but I'm going to do it anyway, simply because I like it. I'm going to try to get right up there. And I'll leave my stop in. Hopefully we can get at least our first contract. Didn't get it. May get stopped out. We'll see. Got in a little bit late on that one. I wanted it right there at that ellipse, but I've got it moving too fast. It's moving 6 times anyway. And I'd put my stop just underneath that swing right there. See if we can get it. So what does everybody think about your 3 trends now? Are you able to see the three trends in real time so that you can absolutely make some of these great trades like this? Do I lend much credence to the stealth? Well, one thing about it, Kenneth, if you've got your replay running too fast, obviously you're going to miss some trades, even if you're trying to hit market, and especially if you're trying to teach a group of people. But the stealth is good, as a matter of fact. Notice how you'll usually get stealth kind of changing back here. You know, that's a good trade. We called it in the room this morning, got it. But notice how stealth actually started going solid right through here. And yeah, you could box this little area in looking for that trade right there, right? But if you missed that one, what would you have to do? Well, you'd have to wait for it to come back, pull back into previous support. And if you look at lightning on this chart, where is that support? Right across here, you have a high, a low, higher high. So this is pretty much your support right there. And look where they came down to, within just a couple of ticks, as a matter of fact. So definitely, that's a good way to trade. Just look at your identified swings and trade accordingly. And until they take out a resistance area, always keep in mind that anytime they get these red like this, draw you some lines, because that's pretty much your range right there. See, it didn't quite take out the high. I'd probably be killing that trade by about now, because it's going to either bounce off mid-band, which is right here. Not going to buy 4, I'll buy 2. And I'm going to put my stop right under there. And I'm just trying to get up to there and the top, like that. Everybody see why I took that trade? Exactly the same reason I've been teaching all night. It had a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. We expect a higher low again. Where was support? Draw your line and look where they hit it, on the money. See there? They hit it on the money. So would that have been a good trade to get into? Absolutely it would. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed the webinar. We'll do this in the room tomorrow. And keep in mind that when we draw on these charts, this is all calculated by looking at these three trends. Okay? Because it's really important to see these trends when you're trading in real time. Because what's your overall trend on this chart? Still what we call the third trend. It's down, isn't it? It's absolutely down. So do you think later on that they probably went on down again? I didn't trade it after that, but I'll bet you it did, because you can tell by looking at the charts that at least try to come down and test some of these areas down in here or here. Okay? And the thing is, we're only open in the room for like 2 hours. So what we're doing is we're trading these charts, right, in real time. Could you take a quick short below that line right there and try to get 10 ticks? See where it's taking out support right here? See if we can get it. And then I'll go ahead and wrap. I'm just going to try to get 10 ticks only on that trade because it broke support. Everybody see why I took that? Even though this was green, it's still, this is your identified swing. See it? High, low, higher, high. This is not your identified swing. They'll fake you on that one. But that's your identified swing, and all I wanted was 10 ticks. All right, where do you think you should buy it again, since it's obviously the background is green? Shouldn't you be looking down at what? Phantom? Right? Matter of fact, yep, see it? Right there at support. Tighten my stop just in case. Only willing on that one to go 7 ticks. And there's another 10 tick trade. Learn to do that with, some extra contracts, and it makes a world of difference in your trading. And if you draw on your charts, you can do this. Okay, where do you think resistance is on this chart right up here right now? What's right up here at this line, isn't it? Didn't quite get there. Can I get 10 ticks again? Time will tell. I got in a little bit early. There's resistance right there. See if it rolls. I'm going to add one more. See if I can get 10 ticks on 4. Hit resistance perfectly, didn't it? See if I can just get 10 ticks, and then we'll definitely wrap. Where's support? They've already checked here. They haven't checked here. Looking to the left, trade the right, right? So probably want to go right on this one right here. That's an a priori. Tighten my stop so I don't get taken out of this trade. And there's another trade that worked for us. Bingo. Looking to the left to trade the right. 3 trends. Micro trend. You can trade against the trend if you want to, because micro lightning, when it gets broken, you can scalp your little brains out. I don't know where that came from. But anyway, then look at the medium trend. When they break the medium trend, they're changing trends. Okay? And look to the overall trend to see which direction you need to be biased for the long run. Okay? Thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, you could have taken this little breakout right here because it broke what we call what? Lightning identified swing right there. Everybody see that? And then protect some coin. You can scalp this thing all day long. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the morning. And this will be up on the member site, and we'll have to get it on the trial site probably tomorrow, because I truthfully don't know how to do the new one like I used to the old one. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you in the morning. Bye now.